I'm on the left, I'm a Democrat, but what the hell was that? That was crazy. So he's apparently got these Congress people on speed dial, and he's watching. I read the whole story, of course, and he's watching the entire hearings, and he's texting people different directions. Did anybody know that Epstein was running our government? I mean, that was amazing. Did you see?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
She doesn't know who Rona is, so she misspells it in the text. She thinks it might be an acronym for something. And then she says, Ms. Rona, Rona's her first name. It's Rona Graff, the assistant for Trump. She literally has no idea what she's asking. She's only asking that question because Epstein directed her to ask that question. And interesting that Epstein at that point is directing people on how to damage Trump. So that doesn't serve any of my interest for me to tell you that, but that's what's happening in that hearing, right? You gotta be fair and you gotta call out what's actually happening. But what's interesting in all the emails is Epstein goes back and forth, back and forth. Should we hurt Trump or should we help Trump? Should we hurt or help? And depending on what Trump is saying. And he categorizes Trump as dangerous. My guess as to why he thinks Trump is dangerous is because usually when someone is bought or blackmailed, they stay bought or blackmailed.
Y'all remember, same lady. We exposed it in broad daylight.
Having Trump not only have had the codes, but now having the classified information for Americans and being able to put that out and share it in his resort with anyone and everyone who comes through should be terrifying to all Americans, and he needs to be stopped. Having Trump, I believe that Jeffrey Epstein had information, and I was going to get information to get at the truth. Having a real friendship with him is not something that I would deem to have. And so I'm just looking forward. I'm moving forward. And I think that that's what we as American people should do, is move forward. If individuals are not involved in illegal activity, extending his criminal enterprise or his financial enterprise or all of those things, I think that we need to look at what people are doing moving forward.
Wait, let me just better understand that. What is that point? Because at the time he was a known sex offender and it had been detailed all the sexual abuse.
There are a lot of people who have done a lot of crimes, and as a prosecutor, you get information from people where you can.
Oh, hell.
Hey, let's coordinate what and tell him that smash actor.
Received and acknowledged. We'll respond shortly.
Say, let's coordinate.
Dum 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 dum.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Oh, hell. Look who just ran their butt on CNN. And it backfires again. All right, CNN, Caitlin Collins. All right, Miss Lips, let's do it. Oh, hell. They ought to shut CNN down. How the hell is CNN still? They ought to just...
With the bill to force the release of the Epstein files now cleared through the House, going through the Senate, and on its way to President Trump's desk soon, tonight a Republican effort to punish a Democratic colleague over her contact with Jeffrey Epstein failed inside of the House. That's because moments ago, lawmakers rejected a resolution to censure Democratic delegate Stacey.
Democrats riding around in that old Cadillac with Jeffrey Epstein. Unbelievable. I tell you, Democrats riding around smoking cigars and going out to eat with Jeffrey Epstein.
Plaskett, she represents the Virgin Islands, for texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a 2019 hearing that featured Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen. These were texts that were among the 20,000 pages of documents the House released last week, and they show that Epstein texted Stacey Plaskett saying, quote, Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of the secrets, referring to Trump's longtime assistant, Rona Graff. Plaskett responded, quote, Rona? and then asked, "Quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym?" Epstein replied, "That's his assistant." A few minutes later, Plaskett asked this.
Is Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
A minute after Plaskett wrapped up her questioning there, Epstein texted her, quote, "Good work." The text exchange comes just 3 months after the Miami Herald published its investigation detailing Epstein's abuse of young girls. And tonight, House Democrats are fiercely defending Stacey Plaskett, with the leader, Hakeem Jeffries, calling the censure vote a political stunt, as Plaskett is echoing that defense and denying that Epstein had any influence on her questions.
They've taken a text exchange which shows no participation, no assistance, no involvement in any illegal activity, and weaponized it for political theater. Because that's what this is.
And my source tonight is the Democratic leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries. And thank you, sir, for being here. Obviously, a lot of movement up on Capitol Hill today. And you heard Stacey Plaskett there. She was arguing her texts with Jeffrey Epstein were not illegal. But in your view, were they appropriate?
Well, Stacey Plaskett is not accused of violating any House rule, any law, any statute, and she's clearly.
I'm just sick of the way this bastard speak. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I am. You know, I'm sick of looking at him. I'm sick of hearing him. You know, that same body language and tone. I'm sick of it. And I'm about tired of every politician too. They ought to do a sweep down there in Washington. There ought to be a sweep at the Capitol. A sweep. And walk this bastard out and many others in handcuffs.
And unequivocally denounced Jeffrey Epstein. And I think what the survivors fought for today is.
And shut down CNN. Because they just don't want to tell people the truth. Fake news media, the enemy of the people. CNN and many others.
The type of transparency that came out of the House, went through the Senate, and is now on its way to Donald Trump's desk, where hopefully he'll sign it into law, because at the end of the day, all the American people are asking for is just the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, which is why these Epstein files that Donald Trump and his administration has been hiding for months need to be released.
But do you think it was appropriate for her to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein 11 years after he pleaded guilty?
I mean, I have not had a conversation with Stacey Plaskett.
I haven't had a conversation. Yeah. You see how he smiles at the end of his statements? After he says Trump, Trump, Trump. Y'all see that? I'm sick of it, man. And he do it every single time. He'll say Trump and MAGA Republicans, and then at the end of his statement, he just smiles. And makes that same smirk.
To discuss this issue, because we've been focused today on making sure that there was a decisive vote as it related to the Epstein files and the release. I'm thankful for the work of Representative Massey, of Ro Khanna, but most importantly, the survivors.
Do you plan to talk to her about it?
I think that we successfully defeated a resolution that lacked any basis, was not credible, and was being brought by an individual who was trying to weaponize this issue to reinvigorate his own failed gubernatorial campaign in South Carolina. It was rejected on a bipartisan basis on the floor today. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, I was just asking if you personally believe messaging with Jeffrey Epstein, who is at that point a registered sex offender, is appropriate for a member of the House Democratic Caucus.
That's the third time you've asked me this question, and I'm going to give you the same exact answer. Our focus today is on making sure that the Jeffrey Epstein files were released.
Just
we want to have a
offset.
conversation with Stacey Plaskett about it.
Why are we wasting time? Get this clown offset. Why are we wasting time? The hell with CNN. Y'all finna choke me up. Y'all finna choke me up, man. I'm sick of all this crap. The hell with CNN and this bastard.
I'm sure she'd be willing to talk to you. It was an illegitimate effort to try to remove her from the House Committee on Intelligence, and that was defeated in a bipartisan way.
Well, let me ask you about you, because the White House has been highlighting an email that I'm sure you've seen today that Jeffrey Epstein got in 2013. They say it shows you were soliciting money and dinner from an Epstein. The email was not sent from you. It was sent from a political consulting firm called Dynamic SRG that says, "We are thrilled to announce we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Shoot us an email or give us a call if you would like to get involved." What's your response? Do you recall that email being sent to Jeffrey Epstein from that team?
Yeah, of course, I have no recollection of the email. I've never had a conversation with him, never met him, know nothing about him other than the extreme things that he's been convicted of doing. And that's why, I'm just strongly supportive of the effort, backing the survivors to make sure that everything can come out, whatever is in those Department of Justice files.
So you never got a donation from Jeffrey Epstein or anything like that?
Certainly not.
And just on this passing today, to this point, I mean, this is something that even Ro Khanna told me just a few moments ago, he never even thought it would get to this point today. I wonder what it says to you that the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, fought this so much and had a concern over, he was saying this discharge petition would create new victims, as he argued, because it was requiring the DOJ to release information where maybe the FBI hadn't reviewed it and determined it's not credible. I wonder what you made of how this culminated tonight.
Well, I think it was a decisive bipartisan vote that, I think clearly, despite all of the efforts, 7 weeks of Republicans being on a paid vacation and refusing to swear in Representative Adelita Grijalva. Why was that done? Because they didn't want her to become the 218th signature on the discharge petition that ultimately resulted in the vote today. And so I don't think the Speaker has any credibility as it relates to this issue, but I'm thankful for the outcome today, thankful for the decisive vote in the Senate, and now it's on its way to President Trump's desk.
And the Plaskett censure did not pass. There was a resolution rebuking Congressman Chuy Garcia. He had timed the announcement of his retirement shortly after the state's filing deadline, and that was after his chief of staff had declared her own candidacy for that position, basically leaving her as the only Democrat able to run for that seat. There are 23 Democrats who joined Republicans on the disapproval resolution. You urged members to oppose it. How come?
I think that it's an issue to be worked out by the people back in the great state of Illinois. Chuy Garcia has been a consistent progressive champion for the disenfranchised, a voice for the voiceless. He's done a lot of good. And I think that it was a resolution of disapproval that I did not support, that there are a lot of issues, I think, of importance to the American people, including the failed Trump economy, the Trump tariffs that are crushing people, the Republican health care crisis, the refusal by my Republican colleagues to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credit.
Same stuff.
The fact that that is going to result in tens of millions of people experiencing dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles. People are going to be unable to go and afford to see a doctor when they need one. There are a whole host of issues.
We wonder why. I'm sick of this clown, man. I ain't know how I even got through the end of this video. Same thing over and over. I told you it's like a god doggone bot, like an AI bot. He say the same thing, sound the same thing, the same script over and over and over.
Issues that the American people just made clear 2 weeks ago during the general election that they want.
And he don't give a damn about the American people.
See addressed. It's the reason why Republicans were decisively defeated across the country and up and down the ballot. And yet we continue to come to the floor of the House of Representatives and they play partisan political games as opposed to dealing with the issues.
In those blue areas and in New York City. Clap it up for this clown, man. I told you. It's the same thing over and over and over, man. People are sick of this crap.
That matter relative to driving down the high cost of living and making life better for the American people.
I think it's fair to say there's bigger issues people care about, but even some Democrats have said, this is why people don't like politics. This is slimy, and it disenfranchises voters by not letting them pick who they want to be running in that race. Did they have a point?
I think they can speak for themselves. And certainly, my view on the situation was that there are things that we should be focused on in terms of solving problems for the American people, that the American people just decisively told us 2 weeks ago during the general election they wanted us to work on.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, thank you for your
clown.